Hey, y'all, welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, we're inside because of the impending rain that has become far too prominent over the last few days. Can't wait for it to go away. As it is the case every day at Saratoga, there is a stakes race, and on Sunday, it's the quick call. So let's take a look at it. The quick call was a grade three, and it's the ninth race at Saratoga on Sunday. It's run on the turf at 5.5 furlongs for 3-year-olds only. Number one is No Nay Hudson. This one had a pretty good effort in the William Walker last time, but it was kind of a iffy field. With the exception of Gaslight Dancer, the main thing I noticed about this one is that his class level is not improving, meaning the class level the horse is running at. So regardless of what's happening in the races, no matter how much better the class gets, his level is staying the same, and that's not a good sign because it doesn't show that the horse is improving. Now, you've seen some progressions, and he did get a nice buyer for the William Walker, but you have to keep that in mind, is that you want to be seeing progression with 3-year-olds, particularly when they come to Saratoga, and this one is kind of plateaued. Now, he's by Wesley Ward, and it is interesting that you get James Graham to come over because I don't think he's here for the entire meet. So that is a plus. I would consider that to be a good sign. And I think you could probably use this one under, but I just like others better, and I'm really bothered by the fact this one's not progressing class-wise. Kigali is by Great Connections that did really well at Saratoga last year, and they've already got a win. Rigney Racing and Phil Bauer. Really good trainer. One to keep an eye on up here. He is poised. Always brings his A game for his barn. So while this one is has just broken its maiden and would need a pretty significant improvement, you can't discard this barn because of the way they do things. So I don't think this one can win. There is steady progression and improvement, but would obviously need to be better buyer-wise. I would put this one under, though, because of the connections. Eyewitness for Wesley Ward is exactly what you want to see in a 3-year-old. As this horse, the class level increases, this horse's class level is increasing. So this one is on an upward progression, is getting better with every start. Is versatile, can rate, can go on the lead, whatever the case may be. You're cutting back in distance, but I don't think that's going to be an issue for this one. A lot of talent here, and I think it's a logical win candidate. Dr. Osaran, trained by Christophe Clement. You got Flavien Prat, so you get the French connection there. He had this one in the maiden where he got a halfway decent second to a pretty hot horse. This one has been in some decent company. There have been a lot of key races before, so that there's some back class here to a degree. But the other thing is that this horse is another one that really isn't getting better, and I don't see that upward progression. And so I got a feeling this one might be a little overmatched here. You got nice connections, and it is Saratoga with Christophe Clement and Flavien Prat. But I'm not so sure that this one stacks up with the rest of them. If you do like this one, I would consider under only. Two of a Kind is kind of interesting. He's certainly better on turf, and the last couple he's really stepped up his game since he's been moved to turf. One of the things I like about him is he's got some pretty good back class. He's faced some decent horses like Super Chow and General Jim, and he's held his own. So there's some class here, and the fact that he's improved on turf is certainly a plus. He is kind of always the bridesmaid, though. He had back-to-back wins to start his career, including the Tremont. But since then, he's been in the money, but he hasn't won. So I think that's probably more likely to happen here. I like him as a horse, and he is getting freshed up. Brian Lynch is pretty dangerous with turf sprints. So I like this horse underneath. Charging is by Brad Coxon. This is highly unusual to see a horse be that bad in his last start, trained by Brad Cox. Obviously, there was Eyewitness and Inflation Nation are pretty good horses, so that was a pretty decent field. There has been a little bit of back class. This one had his faced some decent horses and acquitted himself pretty well, but that last one was just so bad. You really got to wonder about it because it was the first against winners. This one's certainly likely to run better, but is that really saying that much in this field? It's pretty deep. He is by Candy Ride, and Candy Ride's the leading sire at Saratoga. So there are some things to like. This one's kind of mixed for me. I would say Underneath, if you like him, is probably the best bet. Briterdayzahead is trained by Joe Sharp, and his barn's going really well right now. I like the fact that this one beat winners, and then the first time on turf against winners, broke the maiden, and then the next start against winners, went to turf and against older, and it was no problem, and took the race down. So that to me is a very good sign of some precocity here, some talent. The like I said, the barn is going well, and I fully expect this one to run a good race. I'm not sure it's going to be good enough, but maybe as a upset potential here, Briterdayzahead is maybe one to think about. Son of a Birch just isn't good enough. Tom Morley's a nice trainer, but this one would have to have a monumental improvement to factor in this race, and I don't think it's going to happen, so I'll pass. Uncashed hasn't really beaten much. That's really the big issue. You can't deny the record. There's 4 out of 5 in 1 second, so this horse likes to win, but hasn't done so on turf yet. The couple of things, you got Rod Ortiz, and obviously that's a big step up. And Larry Ravelli's just an awesome trainer, and he doesn't bring horses anywhere unless he thinks they can win. He's 26% with first-time turfers. So I'm going to presume this one's going to be ready to run. The outside post is a little bit of an issue for a horse who wants to be on the front end, but there's a lot of things to like here, and I would certainly be using this one for sure. Gaslight Dancer is another one who's was pretty prominent earlier in his career, and was stakes placed and won the Palisades a couple back. So came out at 3 years old, and you always like to see a 3-year-old debut with the career high buyer. It's a really good sign. William Walker was kind of a disappointment, may have been a regression over that career high buyer, but needless to say, it was still a competitive race. And this one coming from off the pace in these type of races where you got a lot of younger horses who like to run early. I think that this one might be a good one to think about. Being parked on the outside isn't the greatest thing, but you do get Tyler Gaffalione, and he certainly knows how to craft a trip. So this is certainly a win candidate and one you want to use. There is the main track only. If this does go to dirt, which I highly doubt it, they'll probably take the others off the turf. But if it does, Linda Rice, Jose Ortiz, Joey Freshwater, connections that you can't deny, and they're just on fire at Saratoga, so you absolutely have to use. You can see Linda Rice is 5 out of 8 in the money and 50%. So kind of hard to deny. Must use if it goes to the dirt. Acoustic Avenue was kind of mixed results. I've been running against state breds quite a bit, and but there is halfway decent dirt for him. I just think there's others probably who run a little better. So I could kind of go either way with Acoustic Avenue. So here's what our top 5 looks like for the quick call. Number 1, we're going to use Eyewitness. I think he's got the versatility, the speed, and he can rate. He can do whatever's necessary to win this race, and he's on an upward progression class-wise, so he's a logical win candidate. Number 2 is Gaslight Dancer. I do like the fact that he has a late running style in this spot with all the early speed. Those horses tend to do pretty well in turf sprints. Had a little bit of a bounce in his last race, but I think he'll rebound, and he has the class to be competitive here. So Gaslight Dancer, logical number 2. Number 3 is Uncashed. Bit of a wild card. Hasn't run on turf before, but it's Larry Ravelli, and he does not ship unless he feels he has a good shot at winning. And this one, if I had to pick one to upset the apple cart, this is one who's going to do it. So you get a nice value at 5-1. Hopefully it'll stay there. But Uncashed, I think, is in good hands and probably will run a pretty good race and be competitive here. Number 4 is Briterdayzahead. I think he's lining the weeds a little bit. And I think he's on the verge of having a competitive race here. And I think he's probably the value play. And number 5 is Two of a Kind. He's in the money all the time. I just can't quite get over the hump, but I think he's good enough to get in the money here. And logical under candidate. I don't expect he'd be a win candidate, but you can definitely use him on the bottom of your exotics for sure. So that's the quick call. I think it's going to be a really competitive race, and watch out for that Uncashed. Larry Ravelli doesn't ship unless he knows he can win. So I think that's one that could perhaps upset the apple cart. I like Eyewitness and Gaslight Dancer a little better, but I could definitely see that one taking it down, and hopefully you'll get some trend upward and you get a decent price. But so that's one to definitely be on the lookout for. Hope our analysis helps you with your wagering, and I wish you the best of luck, of course. And if you do want more content, go on over to our website at rightatthewire.com. There's plenty of opportunities there for you. Full card analyses for the spa, as well as 2-year-old analysis. All stuff I think you definitely could get a lot out of that would help you in your process. So go on over there and take a look. If you do like what you see here, of course, please like and subscribe. And we do thank you for coming by. And we'll continue with our daily stakes analysis as long as the Saratoga meet goes on. And for the weekends, we'll have definitely some special videos with regards to maybe some sequences on the major stakes days. So be on the lookout for those as well. Thanks for coming by, as always. And I'll be talking to you in the very near future. And until then, stay dry and be well.